When contemplating the origins of economic thought, many individuals instinctively think of figures such as Adam Smith, Karl Marx, or perhaps Aristotle, if they had paid attention in their school days. However, there exists a quieter yet profound truth hidden within the medieval world, one that Western history often overlooks. Nearly 1,000 years ago, long before capitalism and central banks took shape, a Muslim scholar issued a warning that still resonates during every financial crisis we encounter today. He asserted that when money loses its moral compass, society begins to rot from within. Observing the world we inhabit today, it appears he understood our condition far better than we might care to admit. To delve into the insights of Al-Ghazali, one of the most significant thinkers during the Islamic Golden Age, one must envision a world that feels both familiar and alien. The setting is around the year 1100 of our era. Europe is fragmented and impoverished, struggling to emerge from the ashes of early medieval chaos. In stark contrast, the Islamic realm stretches from Al-Andalus in Spain all the way to Persia and beyond. Its cities are vibrant, opulent, and bustling with life. Baghdad, Damascus, and Cairo stand as epicenters of finance and intellect. Trade routes teem with caravans transporting silk, spices, textiles, and silver. Scholars engage in heated debates concerning philosophy, law, astronomy, and medicine. Markets are alive with activity. The empire thrives on wealth that transforms society at an astonishing pace. He poignantly described this phenomenon as freezing the circulation of society, a phrase that could seamlessly fit into any modern critique addressing inequality. However, Al-Ghazali did more than lament human greed. His argument bore systemic implications. When affluent individuals hoard their resources, they inadvertently create scarcity, not due to an actual lack of resources but because they obstruct the flow of circulation. This distortion leads to skewed prices and failing markets while inflicting suffering upon the populace. This critical examination leads him to another pivotal notion. Speculation undermines trust within economic systems. Al-Ghazali expressed disdain for merchants who manipulated prices for personal gain, created artificial shortages, or exploited crises for profit maximization. His insights highlight the delicate balance required in economic interactions and the ethical responsibilities tied to financial practices. In essence, Al-Ghazali's reflections extend beyond mere observations about monetary policy. They encapsulate profound truths about human nature and societal dynamics. His teachings encourage individuals to reconsider their relationship with wealth and recognize that true prosperity arises not from amassing riches, but from facilitating growth and fostering community welfare through shared resources. By emphasizing the importance of circulation over accumulation, he provides timeless wisdom relevant to contemporary discussions on economics and ethics alike. Thus, exploring Al-Ghazali's thoughts on money offers valuable lessons even today, reminding us that our pursuit of wealth should always be aligned with our moral compass and societal responsibilities. In an age where materialism often overshadows altruism, revisiting these age-old principles can guide us toward a more equitable future for all members of society. He viewed speculative behavior not as a clever strategy but as a form of moral decay, profit without contribution. Those who profit from the suffering of others, he wrote, profit from corruption. In his eyes, corruption was akin to a disease. Once it takes root, it spreads through markets, institutions, and ultimately pervades society at large. If this sounds like a commentary on contemporary financial bubbles, predatory lending practices, or exploiting crises for gain, well, it is. These insights were penned over 9 centuries ago. However, he did not oppose profit outright. He was not against business endeavors, nor did he advocate for monasticism or vows of poverty. His firm belief in commerce was unwavering. He regarded markets as both natural and essential components of human interaction. He held that wealth could be meaningful and even noble when acquired responsibly. His true concern lay with dishonest trading practices, fraud, deceit, the use of false weights, concealing product defects, or manipulating information for personal gain. He emphasized that markets thrive only when participants trust one another. When trust erodes, the economy collapses right alongside it. In this regard, he was among the earliest thinkers to articulate concepts that modern economists refer to as transaction costs, information asymmetry, and moral hazard, albeit without the jargon typical of professional discourse. Another vital point he raised was the inherent value of labor. He argued that work should be respected inherently while unearned wealth posed spiritual dangers. In his view, money earned through hard work shapes character positively. Conversely, wealth amassed through manipulation undermines it. While this may seem like moral preaching, his reasoning was grounded in practicality. Societies grow stronger when individuals contribute meaningfully. They weaken when exploitation occurs. Yet his critiques did not stop at individual actions. He also emerged as one of the pioneering critics of state interference in monetary systems. Medieval rulers often diluted gold or silver coins to stretch their budgets further, effectively imposing hidden taxes on their subjects through inflation disguised as currency devaluation. Within this flourishing trade environment and amidst rising inequality emerges a scholar named Abu Hamid al-Ghazali, a figure embodying facets of philosopher, jurist, theologian, and critic rolled into one. Picture him as a thinker capable of articulating both the purpose of the soul and the function of monetary systems without missing a beat. Born in the year 1058 in Persia, al-Ghazali swiftly ascended through intellectual ranks. By his 30s, he held one of the most prestigious teaching positions in the Islamic world. He vehemently condemned this practice as theft. It eroded trust in the marketplace and disproportionately affected the impoverished who received inferior coins in exchange for their hard-earned labor. This destabilization rippled through financial systems from top to bottom. He believed that government had a role in maintaining fair markets but insisted that this role must remain limited. Leaders should protect economic integrity rather than manipulate it for short-term gains. Thus, his ideas resonate profoundly today as a reminder of ethical considerations in commerce and governance. By advocating for transparent practices and mutual respect within trade relationships, he laid groundwork for discussions about integrity in financial dealings long before such principles became common parlance in economic theory. His reflections compel us to ponder the balance between profit-seeking behaviors and ethical responsibilities toward society at large, a dialogue that remains ever relevant in our current economic landscape. He cautioned that unjust rulers can dismantle prosperity at a pace that rivals any external adversary. Once again, the contemporary parallels are glaringly evident. The warnings of al-Ghazali regarding leaders were not born from abstract theories but rather stemmed from keen observations of the actual conduct of real states. During his era, political fragmentation was on the rise, dynasties fought fiercely for legitimacy, and local rulers sought to increase their revenues. As is often the case, when those in power felt their grip on society weakening, their immediate response was to tighten control over the economy. Some imposed taxes that were painfully burdensome, while others resorted to manipulating currency minting in an effort to stretch their budgets further than they should have been able to. A number of rulers seized commercial assets outright, while others engaged in reckless borrowing, passing the heavy consequences onto future generations. None of these tactics were innovative. In fact, al-Ghazali believed they failed to address the core problem at hand. He held that corruption at the top trickled down like a poison affecting every level of society. When a ruler deceived their people, merchants felt justified in misleading their customers. In an environment where institutions did not operate with integrity, individuals lost all incentive to act responsibly. This created a cascading effect of distrust throughout the entire economic system, from the royal treasury to local markets. His conclusion was dire yet straightforward. Societies could endure poverty but could not withstand rampant corruption. Economic collapse seldom arises from a lack of money or resources. Rather, it stems from a breakdown of trust, the invisible adhesive that binds every transaction, every contract, every currency and institution together. Once this trust erodes, even the wealthiest nations become vulnerable and fragile. From this perspective, al-Ghazali's views on currency begin to make profound sense. He argued that the stability of currency is intrinsically tied to honesty and integrity within governance. A decrease in the value of coins, whether through reducing their gold or silver content, was more than just poor policy. It amounted to deception and betrayal. A ruler who counterfeited money was not merely being crafty. He was stealing from his own citizens in slow motion. What might have seemed like a minor adjustment in coin purity was for al-Ghazali a harbinger of financial decay beginning to take hold. He foresaw that if governments frequently tampered with the currency system, eventually people would lose faith altogether. They would abandon local currencies and turn instead toward stronger foreign alternatives. In essence, Al-Ghazali's insights reveal a timeless truth about governance and economics. Without trust as a foundation for economic interactions, societies risk spiraling into chaos. Each dishonest act by those in power undermines not only their authority but also erodes public confidence across all sectors of life. Thus, maintaining integrity becomes paramount, not just for prosperity but for societal cohesion itself. Yet what set him apart was not merely his esteemed title but his unwavering refusal to accept prevailing norms without question. He observed a landscape where wealth was on the rise and markets were expanding. However, he sensed something was amiss beneath this apparent prosperity. Society seemed obsessed with material wealth while drifting further away from meaningful existence. The economy appeared outwardly successful yet harbored deep-seated issues that threatened its core stability. Ultimately, Al-Ghazali's warnings resonate even today as we observe how leaders wield power and manage economies around the world. The cycle of corruption and distrust remains as relevant now as it was centuries ago. A reminder that ethical governance is essential for any society aiming for sustainable growth and harmony among its people. A millennium later, the dynamics observed have reverberated through various regions, notably in Weimar Germany, Zimbabwe, Venezuela, and Argentina. In these contemporary instances, individuals abandon their currency, having lost faith in the promises underpinning its value. The discussions and anxieties surrounding inflation in the 21st century mirror the insights of a medieval scholar who understood that money ultimately relies on a system of beliefs. Once people cease to believe in it, the entire mechanism falters. However, this scholar's perspective on finance transcended mere currency and taxation. He grasped something profoundly intricate about human nature itself. Human beings tend to hoard resources out of fear. They engage in speculative ventures driven by greed. Deception becomes an option when individuals believe they can evade consequences. People manipulate financial systems because they are susceptible to manipulation. Justifications for unethical profits arise easily when everyone else appears to be doing the same. When society reaches a point where exploitation is normalized, collapse is imminent. This conviction formed the basis of one of his most pivotal conclusions. Correcting economic issues requires addressing the incentives shaping human behavior. While laws and markets hold significance, they are ultimately sustained by individuals making choices influenced by emotions, ambitions, fears, and desires. If social structures fail to channel these incentives toward productive and ethical conduct, economies will inevitably spiral into corruption, instability, and self-destruction. Thus, this scholar emphasized the moral dimensions of wealth significantly. To him, wealth devoid of responsibility was not merely spiritually perilous. It posed a threat to the collective good of society. He believed that wealth itself was not inherently malevolent. Rather, it lacked meaning without a purposeful direction. A society gains strength when its members contribute more than they extract, balancing their desire for accumulation with an obligation to enhance communal welfare. However, when wealth becomes detached from social accountability, when the pursuit of profit disregards societal well-being, the system grows fragile. An egocentric society ultimately collapses under its own weight. When disaster strikes, it is not just the less fortunate who suffer but also those wealthy individuals who fancy themselves insulated from such outcomes. Civilizations rise when people comprehend and maintain balance within their social fabric. Conversely, they fall apart when that delicate equilibrium is disrupted. This consideration leads us directly into our contemporary world, a landscape where the insights once articulated by this medieval thinker resonate not merely as philosophical musings, but as a profound diagnosis of our current era. As we navigate this modern age fraught with financial uncertainties and ethical dilemmas, it becomes increasingly clear that understanding these historical lessons can guide us toward fostering a healthier relationship with wealth and responsibility. The legacy left behind serves as both a warning and an inspiration for future generations striving for stability amidst chaos. Recognizing the intrinsic link between economic practices and moral imperatives remains crucial for building sustainable societies capable of thriving rather than merely surviving in an ever-changing global landscape. We exist in a world marked by a global economy where money circulates with astonishing speed, often outpacing logic and reason. Wealth inequality has reached unprecedented levels, manifesting in stark contrasts that are visible across nations. Markets frequently reward speculation rather than genuine investment, leading to an environment where trust in institutions dwindles year after year. Inflation quietly erodes purchasing power, while financial bubbles inflate and burst with an alarming regularity that has become almost predictable. It does not take much effort to draw parallels between Al-Ghazali's observations and contemporary realities. His critiques echo through time as we witness modern societies grappling with similar dilemmas. Rampant consumerism overshadowing ethical considerations and economic growth, failing to translate into genuine well-being for all citizens. Everywhere one looks, the echoes of long-standing issues resonate on a grand scale. The critiques of hoarding wealth take on new meaning in contemporary discussions surrounding billionaires, offshore bank accounts, and the concentration of riches among a select few. Warnings about speculative behaviors resonate with current concerns regarding housing crises, the volatility of cryptocurrencies, shadow banking practices, and predatory market behaviors. Condemnation of currency manipulation strikes at the heart of modern debates about monetary policy and its implications for economic stability. The belief that trust is fundamental to prosperity offers insight into why nations endowed with stable institutions, characterized by fair judicial systems, predictable regulations, and transparent governance, tend to enjoy stronger currencies and more resilient economies. Observers today are often struck by the realization that despite advancements in technology and the rapid pace at which markets operate, fundamental human behaviors remain remarkably consistent. Consider how a historical figure might view our current economic landscape filled with rampant debt accumulation, speculative fervor, widening disparities in wealth distribution, political stalemates, and deep-seated institutional distrust. It is likely they would echo sentiments expressed centuries ago. Where justice falters, prosperity cannot thrive. This unsettling reality highlights an essential truth about economies. They do not collapse merely because figures fail to add up. Rather, they unravel when people within the system cease to trust one another. Systems disintegrate as incentives promote unethical behavior and institutions fail to uphold justice, the very cornerstone upon which markets depend. It is human emotions such as fear and greed, along with our tendency towards simplification, that propel civilizations towards crisis rather than abstract economic theories or equations. This historical figure was not simply preaching ideology. They were articulating a truth about existence itself. They understood what many economists struggle to accept. Money transcends being a mere mechanical entity. It embodies a moral ecosystem intricately woven into the fabric of society. When this moral foundation crumbles under pressure, it is inevitable that the financial system will follow suit into chaos. In light of this understanding, it becomes clear why these ideas remain profoundly relevant today. They serve as a reminder that safeguarding trust within our economic structures is paramount for fostering stability and equity. As we navigate an increasingly complex world influenced by technological advancements and globalization, reflecting on these timeless principles can guide us toward creating more just and sustainable financial systems for future generations. In an era marked by unprecedented debt levels, rampant speculation, institutional distrust, and pervasive financial anxiety, the core message emerges as a principle of survival. When money becomes detached from ethical considerations, the entire system is destined to collapse. Grasping this concept transcends mere financial literacy. It serves as a crucial form of financial safeguarding. Understanding history is essential because it offers profound insights that can protect us from future calamities. While history does not repeat itself in an exact manner, failing to comprehend its lessons can lead to dire consequences. Those who delve into these narratives will find valuable answers and guidance on navigating the complexities of the economic landscape. The past holds keys to understanding our current predicaments and can illuminate the path forward. In this vivid tapestry woven from historical context and profound insight, Al-Ghazali serves as both a mirror reflecting our past failures and a guide illuminating paths toward a more equitable future. His teachings remind us that true prosperity goes beyond mere accumulation of wealth. It demands an intertwined relationship between ethics and economics, a lesson that remains eternally relevant in our ongoing quest for balance in an ever-evolving world where money continues to play a pivotal role in shaping lives and destinies. Al-Ghazali posed a profound question that many dared not to contemplate. What transpires when a civilization amasses wealth at a pace that surpasses its moral development? To delve into this inquiry, he focused on the very essence of money itself. This perspective often astonishes contemporary Western observers. Al-Ghazali was not merely a religious thinker. He emerged as one of the pioneering philosophers who examined money through both moral and systemic lenses. While Aristotle regarded money primarily as a practical invention, and later economists approached it through mathematical analyses, Al-Ghazali explored its psychological and spiritual ramifications for society. He scrutinized how money shapes human behavior, influences incentives, fosters trust, and ultimately determines the fate of entire nations. To grasp his economic philosophies, it is essential to first understand how he perceived the nature of currency. In Al-Ghazali's view, money was not an object of worship or mere accumulation, nor should it serve as a status symbol. Instead, he saw it as a tool, nothing more than a medium of exchange. He likened money to a mirror. On its own, a mirror lacks intrinsic value. Its worth is defined by what it reflects. Similarly, the power of money does not stem from gold or silver but from its ability to facilitate trade, foster construction efforts, and encourage collaboration among individuals and communities. This concept is often attributed to modern economists, yet Al-Ghazali articulated it in the 11th century when many Europeans still largely equated wealth with land or plunder. From this foundational understanding arose one of his most significant insights: hoarded wealth comprises dead capital. For him, riches confined within chests or buried in yards were not merely ineffective. They were detrimental to society's well-being. Inactive wealth fails to circulate. It does not nourish workers, support commerce, or sustain families. Such stagnation suffocates economic vitality.